prazer estar aqui. Fortunately, this is the depth of my Portuguese, and I'll have to continue this presentation in English, but it's really a pleasure being here with you today. My name is Karim Temsamani. I'm the global head of mobile for Google. Today, I'm going to talk to you about how mobile devices are transforming the world we live in. And they are transforming industries as well. I'll talk to you about what opportunities this new age of connectivity creates for businesses, and how you cannot afford to miss it. There's been a lot of talk in recent years, and even decades, about the power of mobile phones. Every year, there have been discussions about whether this is the year of mobile or this is not. Well, I am convinced that the time for mobile is now. I am convinced that we are about to see a new era, a new age, an age which I'm going to call augmented humanity. An age where computers will do work for ourselves. They will do all the things that we will like them to do. Technologies, and mobile phones in particular, are transforming everything. They are transforming what we're able to know. They are transforming what we're able to do. Let's take the example of an item we might use in our everyday life. A music player, for instance. If this music player is not on the internet, it only has what is stored on it. It cannot get the music that's nearby. It cannot get the latest music. It cannot get recommendations from your friends. Therefore, it is not very useful anymore. We now expect every device to be connected. We expect every device to be connected all the time. We expect to have access to this information at our fingertips. This is the new age of connectivity. Essentially, now consumers are seeing that through faster and faster networks that are being provided, and through the emergence of cloud computing technologies, information is essentially with them at all times. This new era of cloud computing has really created a large change in our technology industry. It has helped the growth and certainly the creation of many companies over the last decade, including Google about 12 years ago. Essentially, what cloud computing means is that instead of the model of having all your information and your computing power essentially on your desktop device, you now have access to computing power in the cloud. You have access to all the information that is accessible through the cloud. This is a very, very large change that is happening. And this change essentially enables every user to have a supercomputer in their hands. They can process pretty much everything that they want. That is essentially the power that they have through access to information in the cloud. This is a very, very important fundamental change that is changing all of our industries. And this change is only going to continue growing. This is something that no one here can ignore. Cloud computing technologies. Let me give you a specific example of how cloud computing technology can change businesses. Can you translate 160 million web pages in 70 languages, or over 70 languages, in a matter of seconds, where you could not do it on a desktop? Now, through cloud computing, you can do it. We do it on a daily basis. 160 million web pages translated in over 70 languages every day in a matter of seconds. This is how much the industry is changing. A very hard computing problem, instant machine translation, that is made easy because of the power of the cloud. So make no mistake, the time for mobile is really now. We're seeing that mobile is changing the way we're interacting with our environment. It used to be that we had separate digital and physical lives. We essentially went to work and we had access to a computer for a few hours during the day. This was our digital life. We continued the rest of the day with very little access to the internet and to the information that was accessible. Now we're seeing a complete merging of the two. We essentially have access to information at our fingertips at all times during the day. It changes everything. It changes all of the things that you want to do. It can provide you access to the latest restaurants. It can provide you access to the latest information. Now, you can very much imagine that you are in a restaurant and you're arguing about a specific topic. Well, you Google it. You want to know what the latest song is. You use Shazam. It basically changes everything that you're doing on a constant basis. And this merging of physical life and digital life is the reality that we now all live in. The mobile internet is essentially not only transforming our life, but it is also a technology that is more widespread than no one could imagine a few years ago. There are now 2 billion people online, but 5 billion people in the world that have mobile phones. Mobile is the most widespread technology. To give you a sense of perspective, there are now more people on mobile phones than people that have access to clean toilets, or just about the same amount of people that have access to clean water. It is a revolution that is completely transforming industries. It is a revolution as well that essentially is showing signs of growth that we have never seen before. Earlier today, we showed a graph that showed how quickly internet has grown. Well, mobile is growing 8 times faster than desktop internet was growing. 8 times faster. It is a fundamental change in the way people are considering access to information. The rise really in mobile is fundamental. It's been very much a driving need from a consumer perspective. But you're going to tell me we've had mobile for a long time. Actually, the mobile phone was invented in the 70s by a person called Martin Cooper. So why has it taken so long? Well, it's taken so long because the networks were not necessarily ready, the information was not necessarily available, and the form factor of the phones were not necessarily the ones that users wanted to use. Apple deserves a ton of credit for being a very, very strong catalyst. A catalyst in pushing users to reconsider what they are able to do on their mobile phone. Because make no mistakes, users are at the center of everything that is important from a phone perspective. Now, mobile is bringing as many cultural changes from a user perspective as it is bringing technological changes. You can see it in your daily uses. You cannot live without your mobile phones. You are with it at all times during the day. You expect to have access to it. You expect to be able to use it while you're bathing, while you're eating, while you're in a conference like this one. It is something that is becoming so personal that we can even call it an extension of ourselves. So users are really fundamental in how we think about how mobile phones are being used. And users are driving a lot of changes in terms of behaviors that people are essentially transporting from their desktop experiences to their mobile phones. Some of the things that people are doing on phones are essentially driven by the same needs that they have on desktop. They want to access information. But the behavior on a mobile phone is unique. They're using the capabilities of mobile phones to do things in different manners than they used to on desktop. For example, they're using visual searchers, using the mobile phone's cameras to take pictures of various objects, this time the Golden Gate Bridge, to get information about it. They're using voice commands to be able to ask questions. And we're seeing a phenomenal trend in how users are changing the way they're accessing information because of the specific characteristics of mobile phones. So let me show you a quick video from one of my colleagues, Michael Bow, around how people are starting to switch to voice commands and what type of information they're able to gather from voice command.
Hi, I'm Mike LeBeau. So you probably already knew that you can use your phone to do Google searches by voice. But what I bet you didn't know is that now with the new voice search for Android, you can say things like this. Send text to Bill Byrne. Let's meet at 6 o'clock on 5th Avenue outside the Guggenheim Museum. Pretty awesome, right? I just sent that text message totally by voice, no typing at all. We call that a voice action, and we've added a whole bunch of them on Android. Let's say I want to get some food at my favorite brunch place, but I don't have the number handy. With voice actions, I can find and automatically call any business just by saying its name. Call Blue Ribbon Bakery in New York. Voice actions use the magic of Google Maps to find businesses fast. And I can use that same magic to get around town, too. Navigate to Rockefeller Plaza. With Google Maps navigation, I've got free turn-by-turn directions right on my phone.
Turn left at West 14th Street.
I can also use voice actions to find and play music. Listen to the Decemberists. You can play pretty much any music you could imagine. Just say whatever you're looking for, and any number of apps will go find it online for you.
Take up your arms, sons and daughters.
Even sending emails is a breeze. Send email to Dave Burke and Hugo Barra. Just booked a scuba diving trip to the Turks and Caicos in September! Exclamation point. But you don't have to say everything all at once. Let's add some more. Let me know if you guys want to join. Smiley face. And that's not all the voice actions. There are a bunch more. Check it out. Go to the New York Times. Map of art galleries in Amsterdam. Directions to 826 Valencia Street in San Francisco. Note to self, pick up some chicken teriyaki for dinner. Call Nicholas Jitkoff at home. And of course, you can always do a Google search too. Pictures of the Icelandic volcano eruptions. Man, that's a lot to remember. But we think these new voice actions let you do a lot of things on your phone faster and easier than ever before. To try them out, download the latest voice search from the Android market on your Android 2.2 phone. And have fun.
It's pretty cool. The type of things that you now have available to you to use on a mobile phone that are working so easily because of the emergence of cloud computing that I was mentioning earlier. It's pretty mind-boggling. The best application, the best uses of computing technologies are now happening on smartphones. They're not happening on anything else. They are happening on these devices that are growing at a phenomenal rate. Now, at Google, we have started looking at essentially this usage data. Now, everything is driven by consumers. And we've been looking at this usage data to give you a sense of some of the main trends we're seeing on mobile. And I'm going to highlight 4 of them today that we believe are incredibly important and very important in Brazil as well. These 4 trends are around entertainment. They're around the immediacy that the mobile phone provides. They're around the local information that you can access through the mobile phone and how users are really wanting to connect with this local information. And they're about shopping. Shopping is completely going to be changed because of these devices. This is something really critical. So let's talk about entertainment first. Now, entertainment is essentially driven by this wheel that we have to use these devices and download apps to play games. Now, games is the most downloaded category of apps on phones and tablets. We can start now engaging with this device in a way we've never engaged before. We can move it around, and essentially it turns with us. You can use all the capabilities of the mobile phone to have a much more personal gaming experience. You can even play with friends. Here I'm sure you've already read the statistics, but Angry Birds is one of the most popular, if not the most popular, app that is played on phones and tablets at the moment. Every day, there's 125 years of vengeful fall being flinged around on screens of mobile phones all around the world. This is an incredible statistic. But entertainment is not only about playing games. Entertainment is also about watching videos. The number one video site in the world is YouTube. Well, the number two video site on the world is YouTube for mobile. People are accessing content like they have never before on their devices. Cisco actually has a statistic that says that within the next few years, 66% of the traffic that will go through network will be video traffic. People are going to continue accessing great video content no matter where they are, because now they have this expectation. They can have access to this content, and they want to have access to this content. So video is going to play a critical role on the mobile phones as well. The second trend that we're highlighting is immediacy. This is really critical in changing the way people are thinking about their business. This solves a fundamental user need. I have here an example of a company we work with in the US called Priceline. And essentially, with Priceline, we analyzed the way people were booking their travels. And what we realized is that more people were now essentially booking their travel on a mobile phone when they were arriving at a destination. So on desktop, you can imagine that you had your computer, you're planning your trip, and you're booking a few days in advance. What Priceline realized is that there was a completely different user need as well. For people that arrive in the destination and essentially hadn't booked their trip yet. They were using their mobile phones to do so. It is a completely different user need. And they saw that 82% of people were essentially booking within a day of arrival on mobile phones versus only 45% on desktop. It really highlights the immediacy factor. And 58% of them were within 20 miles of a hotel. So it indicates again that they probably arrived at a destination by car, by train, by plane, and said, no, I need a hotel, I don't have one. And essentially they were only booking short stays, so one night stays. You need to think about how immediacy can solve problems for your business as well. How mobile phones with this ability to do things at last minute may solve a totally different user need that your desktop campaigns might not solve. Another important area around mobile is local. I talked a lot during this presentation about this ability to have information at your fingertips at all times, where local is really the panacea for mobile phones. Essentially, with the mobile phones, you can imagine that you can get access to every information about businesses that you care about when you're traveling. What's really interesting is that the pattern of usage on mobile is quite different to the pattern of usage on desktop. Mobile usage peaks at lunchtime, peaks at night, and peaks during weekends. Why is that? Because people are living their lives. They're essentially out at lunch, they're out at night with friends, they're out on weekends. And we're seeing these usage peaks, and we're seeing that people are essentially querying Google for additional information. They're wanting to call a business. They're searching for information on these businesses. And we're seeing that 1 in 3 searchers have essentially a local intent, which is a staggering number. What's more staggering is essentially that after looking up a business on their smartphones, most users, 61%, have called a business, and 59% have visited. So not only mobile provides businesses with the ability to reach users at the right time when they're in the vicinity of a business, but importantly, the intent is much, much stronger from the user's perspective to do something once they have searched for these businesses. The intent is really a critical factor that mobile provides that not many other media technologies provide. Really critical. The next point, and is very well linked to the intent I was talking about, is that people are starting to use mobile in very different ways when they are shopping. Think about it. I'm sure that you've all had these experiences. You're looking for a business, then you're going inside to try and find information. We used to call it on desktop clicks to bricks. Essentially, you're looking up information, you're searching for the products that you want to purchase, and then you're going in store. Well, this experience on mobile is essentially happening directly within the store. People are in store, they're wanting to see products and services that they like, and they're comparing them on their mobile phone. They're searching to get reviews. They're searching to get pricing information from competing stores, and they can get all the information they want. They can get product information from stores that are selling it online. They can get information from stores that may be in the vicinity as well, they might walk to get this information. So the critical stat there is that 79% of smartphone internet users are using their smartphone while shopping. And 74% of them essentially have purchased as a result of this information that they found on their smartphone. It's quite a staggering, or those two statistics are quite staggering. And you have to think about not only what it means for your businesses when people are in store and looking for this information, but what type of customer service you are going to provide. Now, if someone comes up to essentially making a purchase or not making a purchase and say, I can get it for 10% cheaper online or for a store that is 5 meters down, what should the person at the counter say? Should they let them go, or should they give them a discount? This is a very important strategic point for your businesses that you need to consider. I've talked to you about the users and how we're seeing the trends. I wanted to finish this part of the presentation with some of the stats that we're seeing at global level to indicate how fast this is growing. And one of the key aspects that I will stress first is that because mobile is growing so quickly, people often underestimate the pace at which we can see these numbers growing. And my belief is that all the data that you'll see here is going to be surpassed. But it's clear that already this year, 85% of all new handsets will have mobile web connections. 85%. One of the most staggering stats from my perspective is that half of the new connection all around the world will be through mobile devices. I'm going to say this again. Half of the new internet connection in the world will be through mobile devices. This is staggering. We already know, and it happened in Q4 of last year, that mobile phones outsold PCs for the first time. Q4 last year, mobile phones outsold PCs for the first time. The PCs will never catch up again. And basically, by 2012, we'll see more mobile phones in circulation than PCs. You'll see mobile transforming industries. We're seeing there UK statistics with regards to the value of transactions on mobile phones. We see mobile as an extension of ourselves, so we can see mobile phones as our wallets of the future. You see statistics by 2014 of couponing. Now, couponing is a big factor in many countries around the world when you can provide discounts to consumers. Where on mobile, you can provide discounts that are localized when a user is within the vicinity of a shop. So you're making it even more relevant, and therefore we're going to see the value of couponing really increase drastically from a mobile perspective. And importantly, while mobile is now, and we are already at scale with regards to the number of users that are on mobile phones, using them for information gathering, for shopping experiences, we know that the market is going to increase drastically. From 500 million people in mobile, we're going to see the growth in mobile internet users to 3.5 billion at least by 2015. So an enormous change in terms of the value equation of what these little devices and tablets offer to the market. So I've talked about what's happening in the world, and you're probably going to tell me, yes, but what does it mean in Brazil? Well, I'm telling you, mobile is already material in Brazil. Now, this is not us telling you about the future, and that the future will happen in the next few years. One thing that is critical, and I would like you to remember from this presentation, is that mobile is already material in Brazil. Let me give you a few statistics around this. Brazil is a top 5 mobile internet market globally. When you think about the mobile web, the top 5 markets that we're seeing in the world, Brazil is a critical one, not only for the size of the market now, but for its future potential. It's one of the fastest growing markets. It's one of the fastest growing markets in 3G penetration. And 3G penetration is critical with regards to this ability for people to have access to information at their fingertips. There are already 19 million 3G subscribers in Brazil. 19 million. It is substantial. No, it's as much as the population of Australia, as much as the population of many European countries. And these users, these 19 million users in Brazil that already have smartphones, are essentially doing all the things that I'm talking about. They're not the teenagers. They're the high net worth individuals. They're the people that your businesses, in many aspects, care about. What's really critical as well is that these numbers are growing at a furious pace. We're talking about 19 million now. We think things more than double. Again, we showed earlier some statistics around many of Google's businesses and how they're doubling year on year. Well, I'm telling you that our business in Brazil, the number of queries that we receive from mobile devices has grown 6 times over the last 12 months. Not doubled, it's grown 6 times over the last 12 months. This is phenomenal rate of growth. And not only is it grown 6 times over the last 12 months, but we know that it's on a path to grow even faster going forward. Because mobile devices are essentially flooding the markets. We're seeing many mobile devices at worldwide level being launched. We know that, aside from the iPad 1 last year, the iPad 2 last week, and 80 other tablet devices that will be launched, we know that there's going to be hundreds of thousands of different mobile devices that will be launched, including sub-$100 devices in many countries, including Brazil. Therefore, it's going to open up the market to a completely different user base. On top of that, when people have smartphones, we know that they do 50 times more searches than on normal devices, on non-smartphone devices. So this is enormous growth. And this is growth from people that are accessing Google on essentially a web browser on their mobile phone through google.com or on the search box that already exists on many mobile phones. It's already substantial as well from a query perspective in many categories. In the automotive category, for instance, mobile already represents 6% of all of the queries that we get at Google in Brazil. Already 6%. And it is growing tremendously, 626%. So you can imagine that within the next couple of years, mobile will be a very substantial part of your online business. A very, very substantial part. In some markets around the world, we are already seeing mobile queries above desktop queries. And you can certainly see a path for Brazil to get to that at some point very soon. But it's not only search. Apps are a very important part of the mobile experience. People are accessing their content through apps and through, obviously, HTML5 mobile sites. And we're seeing tremendous growth. This is the data that we're getting from the AdMob blogs. Obviously, AdMob, a company that we purchased last year, and is doing tremendously well. This is, again, Brazil-specific data. This is the type of growth that we're experiencing. Obviously, WAP is still very strong in Brazil, and we can reach customers through WAP. But the important part is really the smartphone experience that is really showing this exponential growth there, the blue bar. This is only going to continue. What really astounded me from having the discussion with the Brazil team as well is, back to the point that I was making, that mobile is already at scale in Brazil. We launched this campaign essentially to drive more people to the Carnival YouTube site. We drove over 1 million Android and iPhone users. I mean, this is material. You're driving 1 million customers to a specific site to engage with a brand experience. Mobile is already at scale in this market. And smart clients are really starting to use it. Let me show you an idea of some of the things from a display perspective, some of the experiences that people can have on a mobile phone when going in apps and going in mobile sites. A lot of the data here, a lot of the examples showcased are taken from the work that we're doing in the US. But I have no doubt that very soon we'll be able to showcase this in Brazil as well. If you can play the video. So I really like the ending. All this is possible right now. One of the issues, though, that we are seeing is that many businesses, many marketers are really not understanding how much of a shift from a user perspective it is, how much of a cultural shift it is. And despite this enormous growth that we're seeing, despite the scale of the market, 79% of our large online advertisers do not have mobile optimized landing pages. What does this mean? Well, it means that users have a really poor experience when they are trying to find information about most large brands in the market on their mobile phones. They have a really really bad experience, a poor experience, and businesses do not get the return on investment that their mobile investment should get. So it is really, really important to provide users with the right engagement model, to provide users with essentially the information that they seek on a format that is pertinent to mobile phones or tablets. So let me give you 3 things that you should be able to do now to upgrade or improve your experience with users. The first one is to create a mobile-specific site, and I'll come back to it in a second. Second one is to track mobile independently. And the third one is to include unique mobile features in mobile campaigns. Creating a mobile-specific site is critical. You do not want users to have an experience where they have to essentially use their fingers to increase the size of the fonts, or have a poor experience because they're not able to purchase what they want to purchase on your site because it's not mobile ready. It is really critical that you go back into the user's shoes and go through the experience that a user would have in accessing your information on a mobile device. So many times I've had discussions with clients where I have accessed myself on my device, their site on a mobile phone, and had a terrible experience, and they were not even aware of it. So one of the advice that we give is go through the whole process. Follow in your customer's footsteps. Don't make the decisions in boardroom. Make the decisions quickly and iterate, because this world is moving at breathtaking pace. The second part is to ensure that you track mobile independently. This is big business. It is important that you understand your customers which devices they're accessing your sites from, what returns you're getting from your mobile campaign, so that you can really continue to optimize them and improve them constantly. Essentially in the same way you used to doing it on your desktop campaigns with Google. We really advise that mobile should be tracked independently to better understand its benefits. And finally, using unique mobile features. The phones have eyes, they have ears. They have the ability to connect to people that are close to certain locations. They have accelerometer. What does that mean for your business? Can you provide information about a store that you have that is close to them? Can you give them a different experience using click to call so that they call the business directly if they want to? Can you give them a different experience through using the accelerometer if you want to provide information that is fun and relevant to them? This is really critical to do when you are accessing information from mobile devices, that you use these features. They're the features that drove users to adopt a different attitude on mobile phones. So, to finish, I would say that mobile represents more than a new technology. It's more than a new platform. It's more than a new engagement model. We believe that mobile is a complete cultural shift, which essentially shows that customers at large are allowing businesses to be invited into their lives. They are invited into their lives permanently. The opportunity for businesses, for all businesses, to be part of this cultural phenomenon is extremely large. We're incredibly excited to be part of it, and we hope that you can join us. Thank you.
Muito bom. Very good.